So far on Ms. World Traveler Experiences New York, we've gotten comfortable getting around and spent some time on Broadway. But when you think of New York, it's often the skyline that comes to mind, and that has everything to do with its archetypal architecture.
When construction on the Empire State Building began in 1930, it was the world's first 100-plus story structure and was completed in an unprecedented 1 year and 45 days. Its first pop culture moment was the release of King Kong in 1933, and that was just the beginning of the role the ESB would play in cinema, tourism, history, and culture. By 1955, it had been selected as one of the 7 greatest engineering achievements in American architecture, ranking it alongside the Hoover Dam and the Panama Canal. With its soaring height and signature Art Deco design, the Empire State Building is an instantly recognizable symbol that defines the New York City skyline. The views from the observatories are breathtaking, but so is the first impression upon entering the 24-foot-tall lobby. Among the most striking design elements is the ceiling mural depicting a celestial sky adorned with gold stars, sunbursts, and gears in a tribute to the machine age. Over the years, it had dulled and been covered over, and it took artisans and historians 2 years, 20,000 working hours, and several thousand square feet of gold and aluminum leaf to bring back the brilliance that once again captivates visitors as it did on its opening day. A completely different kind of architecture can be seen at St. Patrick's Cathedral, which was started in 1858, opened in 1879, and has been added to and restored generation after generation. Occupying a full city block, it is the largest Gothic Revival cathedral in the U.S., with dozens of stained glass windows, 2 spired towers, 2 pipe organs, and dramatic 9,200-pound bronze doors, accounting for its standing as a National Historic Landmark designation. The seat of the mayor and the New York City Council, the City Hall is the oldest in the U.S., still housing original governmental functions. Opened in 1812, it has undergone multiple renovations and restorations, each of which incorporated additional architectural styles, including a central pavilion, a columned entrance portico, and a domed tower. Inside, 10 Corinthian columns support the coffered dome and oculus above, reminiscent of the Pantheon in Rome, while the soaring rotunda is a feat of engineering ingenuity, with its dramatically encircled keystone cantilevered marble staircase. Equally impressive is the collection of 108 18th to 20th century paintings, which are nearly unrivaled as an ensemble, with the jewel being the 1805 portrait of Alexander Hamilton that was used as the inspiration image for the $10 bill. It was not available for viewing, but those on display were just as remarkable.
A lot of thought went into planning a building like City Hall, both for functionality and for public pride. On the privately built side, we recently covered some beautiful historic homes in Newport, Rhode Island, where there was one after another after another. The same is true for New York City.
Converted into museums, institutions, retail spaces, or divided into apartments, there are still mansions from the 1865 to 1910 Gilded Age to admire. A private walk around with New York historical tours led us by some of the most iconic. Many of the mansions have become something else, like a former Astor mansion built in 1903 for their daughter that became the Consulate General of India in 1947. Another 1903 home that belonged to Joseph Pulitzer and his wife has twice evaded the wrecking ball and is now divided into 17 highly prized co-op apartments, 2 of which, at the time of this writing, were for sale. New York City's largest single-family residence, formerly 2 structures constructed in 1898 and 1899, and at one point the temporary location of the Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum, was renovated into one space and is now owned by the Emir of Qatar. When Ralph Lauren made a bold move in 1986 to a dilapidated mansion on 72nd Street, 10 blocks from the nearest retail outpost, it was a risk. But the imposing roofline and mix of Gothic and early Renaissance styles of the 1894 French chateau was exactly what he was looking for. A place not just for selling clothes, but creating a world of style, a philosophy of life. We visited a number of others, including the Frick Collection Museum, a once private home designated as a museum with all the artwork intact, and the James B. Duke House, the tobacco baron and namesake of Duke University, which was donated to NYU in 1958. Full of interesting stories and anecdotes, the tour was a great way to learn about the turn-of-the-century architecture and the history of some of New York's founding families. Part of the wonder of New York is you don't have to make an effort to see something special. It's right in front of you at every turn. For example, you might be enjoying a day at Washington Square in Greenwich Village, listening to music or having a picnic. And there, the 77-foot Washington Arch, which commemorates the centennial of President George Washington's 1789 inauguration, rises up in white Tuckahoe marble and features images of war and peace. It has just become part of the landscape.
Obviously, we didn't have time to cover all the incredible architecture in New York City, but that is just another of many reasons to come back. Now stick around. We'll delve into the immigrant experience and its impact on history, the economy, lifestyle, and local culture. Stay tuned.